Hello, and welcome to the third video, maybe, about half a year later. Today I've got a not so interesting car, but like I've said in my other videos, this isn't about the most interesting cars, it's about any cars I can get my hands on, really. So we might have some fun ones coming up, we might not. This is a Vauxhall Astra, not any old Vauxhall Astra, this is my Vauxhall Astra. So a couple things have happened with the Abarth. The clutch went on it and I just haven't got it fixed yet. I've got the parts for it waiting back at home. I'm going to get it sorted myself, but when it broke, I desperately needed a car so I could get to work and just get about, because I live in the middle of nowhere. And my stepdad was selling this heap of shit. It's a little beast. I don't know if you know much about Vauxhalls, but they're never normally the most interesting things. You might be lucky and get a VXR, and even the gearboxes on those shit themselves. This has had quite a lot of work done to it. It's had thousands spent on it, yet I am 5 years over a service due. I have put my own oil in it, so it's running all right. Every so often you get the engine light pop up, but that is a Vauxhall thing. So I've got some quick info on Vauxhall as a company if you're not a British viewer, and you might not have seen these before. And if you're in Europe, these will be called Opals. I've got some details here that I've researched because I don't care too much about Vauxhall as a company, so I've found some stuff out. So Vauxhall is actually one of the oldest car manufacturers in the UK, which I didn't realise. They started off in 1857 in London, but not as a car company, they were making marine engines. They didn't actually start building cars until 1903. By 1925, Vauxhall was bought by General Motors. Now, if you're American, you'll heard of GM. If you look on random bits of this car, you will see GM printed on all of them, including the fuel filler cap. Don't know why, you know, got to trademark everything. So from the 1960s onwards, Vauxhall really wanted to make themselves the everyday car. They didn't want to be the flashy special car that was ragging about on all these roads. They just wanted to build it for the British people, to deal with the British roads, with the British weather. It was cheap, affordable, and I mean, they did it. Yeah, some of the cars weren't exciting, and you've got things like the Nova and all that shit they made before the 2000s. This shit you don't see any of them about now because they never fucking made it. It's like old Fords, they just rotted away. This is my 2009 Vauxhall Astra SRI CDTI. It's got the 1.9 engine, turbo, and you could get these in a lot of different shapes and a lot of different engine sizes. The 1.9 CDTI, to find it in an estate is actually quite tricky. So I've had a look on Auto Trader and Facebook Marketplace, and you only really find the 1.7s, maybe the 1.8 petrols. So I'll run you through the engines that you could get a Vauxhall Astra with in 2009. So like I said, this one comes with the 150 brake horsepower 1.9 CDTI engine. You could also get a 1.4 naturally aspirated. I've been in one of those, they're shit. You could get a 1.6 petrol, which again, just not much to it. 1.8, which is also naturally aspirated. I've been in one of those as well. It was also the SRI, but it was the petrol version, and it was also the 3-door version of this. And again, without a turbo, once you've driven cars with turbos, you never really want to go back. It does the job, it gets you from A to B, but it's meh. You could get a 1.6 turbo SRI, which again is all right, and a 2-litre turbo, which is in the VXRs. You can get the VXRs not in the estate, but as the hatchback 3-door version, and they are, dare I say it, quite cool. I quite like the VXRs, but again, it's got that badge on it. For your money, are you buying a Vauxhall? I don't know, it's personal preference. Now the diesels, you could get the 1.3 CDTI, not worth talking about, the 1.7 CDTI, which was in a lot of the Astra vans. So a lot of these you see are actually the van version. You don't very often see the estate version. 5 seats, big boot. Now, the 1.9 CDTI you could get in 2 variants. You could get 120 horsepower or you could get the 150 horsepower. This one has 150 horsepower, as I say, it's the SRI. And according to some people, with a remap and some tuning, you can get 200 horsepower out of them. Now, I trust the engine to get 200 horsepower out of it. It's the rest of it it's the gearbox and stuff like that that I wouldn't be so sure of. Now, body shape wise, you could get this in the 5-door estate, like you see here. Again, fairly kind of rare. You could get the 3-door hatchback, which was the more sporty looking version of the Vauxhall Astra. And you could also get the 5-door hatchback, which just looks shit, in my opinion. But again, it's up to what you, it's up to what you want. But if you say you want a Vauxhall Astra, I'm questioning you. So the Astra H is probably my favourite shape of Astra. I don't like the one they went on to make. I don't really like the previous ones. And the newest Astras now are not Vauxhall Astras, they are Peugeots. Kind of cool, but you can't look past the, it's a Peugeot. Anyway, to keep most brands alive nowadays, other brands are buying them. It's just the way that the world's running. But this car has served me quite well in the 6 months I've owned it. It's done a fair few fucking miles. I'm on 154,000 miles on it now, so I've personally put over 10,000 miles on it. And it's not really let me down. I've had a couple issues with the turbo boost pipes, which is a fairly common issue, and it's an old car. It's gonna have a few issues here and there, wear and tear. Every so often an engine light will ping on with a random code, like it did yesterday on my way back from work. Cleared it, given it a drive, nothing wrong with it. As you can tell, I haven't really cleaned the car because I went on a 70-mile drive on Friday night, just for the shits and gigs, and not had time to clean it, but I think it looks quite cool rally spec with all this mud down the side and on the wing mirror and everything. Now, for the age of the car, there is a few wear and tear marks. I've got bits missing here. I've got a few scratches and dints on it, but it still holds a bit of character. And for what I use it for, I lug my bikes around in it, I lug my paddleboard in it. It's perfect for everything that I do, which is why when I get the Abarth fixed, I reckon I'll probably keep this alongside it as well, as it's fairly cheap insurance for, well, I'm 21 now, I've had my license for 3 years, and I'm being quoted about £80, which is better than last year's 230 quid per month. So let's show you around the car anyway. Let's see the exciting parts, if you could say that. I'm making videos near an RAF base is really fucking hard. When you live near one, what the fuck can you do? If you can hear the distant jet, yeah, it sounds cool. You get sick of it after a while. Anyway, from this angle, you can see the lines down the side of the Astra. We've got colour-coded trim on the sides, and as it's the SRI, we did get this weird flimsy piece, which I found out the other day comes off quite easy. Now, I hit a deer in this thing going maybe 30, 40 mile an hour. Fairly big deer. I'm not going to show you a picture because it's rather graphic, but it did actually break a few things. So me grill's a little bit jiggered up here. It's a bit jiggered down here. There's also some nice cracks in the bumper, and all of this came off. It all clipped back together. These things are like Lego cars. You just slot the pieces on and it rebuilds itself. It's got the fine lines down the side. It's not the pinnacle of engineering. It's not the most exciting thing, but you did get roof bars with it. It's a fairly sturdy car, not too exciting. It just does the trick, and as you can see, it's quite long. I'm stood at the back of it here. You could fit what you need to fit in one of these. They made the van off of the exact same platform. It's a van with 5 seats. That's all it is. Anyway, I'll show you inside the engine. Show you how big that is for a 1.9. So this is the 1.9 Ecotec CDTI engine. Now, I believe, I'm going to do my research and I'll put it up on the screen if I'm wrong. This isn't a Vauxhall engine. Someone told me this is an Isuzu engine. Anyway, as you can see, big old lump. It gets fairly warm. Just give me a sec. As an average, I get 37 miles to the gallon, but that is me ragging it down back roads, going the speed limit, obviously. Now, the highest I've got out of it for a 2009 car was 53 miles to the gallon when I went down to Essex. That was a 3-hour drive, and I was sat at 70 the whole way. No traffic jams or anything, and 53 miles to the gallon for a 2009 car, I really don't think is too terrible. Solid bar. That but that's what a deer will do if you hit it. So this has got the 17-inch alloys on it. You could also get the 19-inch Penta alloys, but I believe they only came on the hatchback versions that I was talking about earlier. So your SRI hatchback, the 1.8, and you also got some pretty fancy ones that I quite like and would quite like on the VXRs. However, having this chunky sidewall and a 17-inch tyre for the roads around where I live is, you don't really want anything else, because you will just hit a pothole, ruin your alloy, and struggle finding a new one. But these do the trick. They are actually quite nice underneath all the shit muck and brake dust. Like I say, it's a workhorse. It's not really my pretty car. That's the Abarth, and that's been sat for 6 months. So moving on to the inside, as we could see, it's pretty basic. You get this shiny trim. Now I know some of them, I don't know if it's the VXRs, had this almost carbon fibre. It wasn't carbon fibre, but carbon fibre effect. Because this is a fairly higher trim model, with it being the SRI, you get fog lights with it standard. It's also got a sports mode, which just increases your response on your accelerator. You get these nice shiny metal pedals and a 6-speed gearbox, which pulls like a train, to be honest. Brilliant speakers, really good sound system. I paid 800 quid for this car. Now back in the day it would have been the equivalent of £20,000, brand new on the showroom floor. That's besides the point. It's got everything I need. It's got kind of sporty red dials around here. It doesn't show me the engine temp though. However, if you're in a Vauxhall, you need an OBD scanner, and I can see coolant temp on that. So as we can see here, we've got this tiny, I don't know if you'd call it a screen, because it's not much of a screen. It's not touch screen. It's this old thing where they use little blocks. It did used to tell me the temperature here, but after I hit the deer, the car forgot how to tell the temperature, which isn't an issue. I mean, shit happens when you hit a deer, and I'm quite lucky I got away with the minimal damage that I did. Now, sport button here, it's got central locking. You've got things to mess around with your radio here. A lot of this shit, I don't understand what it means. Aircon, which no longer works. Rear window defrost, and obviously your temperature. Now on here, this is quite cool. So I can go through a range of different stuff. Range, stopwatch, which is quite cool, because I don't know where that would come in handy other than a racetrack. And I can't really see a Vauxhall Astra estate going around a racetrack. Now onto the back passenger compartment. For an estate car, you would think there'd be a fair amount of legroom here. Now I don't sit very leaned back, I'm not a boy racer, but I do have my seat all the way back, as I am 6'2" something. I can't fit in here if there's a big driver. However, if we go to the other side, I can fit in here all right, and the seats are fairly comfy. Mucky. Here's the bottom bit of my aircon radiator. I've got good headroom in here. There's probably a fist and a bit's worth of space above my head. So onto the rear of the car. Probably the least exciting part. So as it's the SRI, you get this cool little spoiler extension, I suppose you could call it. It adds a bit of character to it, and it follows the roof line around, which I quite like. You've got this badge down here which says 1.9 CDTI. With the Vauxhalls I've driven, I don't know, they're all kind of pointy at the front and the back, so this bit actually sticks out further than the rest of the car, along with the front where it's like that, and you can't really tell where the front of your car is. Anyway, I'll show you the boot. Pre-warning, it's full of my shit, but that'll just show you how much shit it can fit in it. So we've got paddleboard, jump leads, because you need that, and a few other work clothes and bits, but I've got to do it. It's bloody massive. Put the seats down. The boot is huge. As I say, it's full of all my work stuff. It's full of all this shit, but it does the trick. It's got everything I need, this car does. It's not exciting, it's not too fun. It does go like shit off a shovel for what it is, but it does the trick. And that's what Vauxhall made these cars for. They weren't, that's a big bumblebee. Wow. These cars weren't for the boy racers, the quick wannabes. These cars were built to be practical, to get you from A to B reliably. They don't always do that, depends which one you've got. But like I said, this 1.9 CDTI is a bit of a struggle to come across now, and if you find one with fairly low miles, I know this has 154,000 miles on it, But in the last 5 years, it's had thousands spent on it to keep it up to scratch. I haven't had to spend that much money on it with 10,000 miles. 70 quid on oil. It's had 150 quid's worth of parts on the front end that I was talking about earlier. And I will have to get it booked in for a service and for the drop links, which are quite common to go on these. That's just a thing that goes. Every car you buy is going to have its little niche thing that goes wrong with it. Luckily, the parts on this are not expensive. It's a Vauxhall. Again, they built this brand for it to be practical for people. This is just a slight reminder of what was built in Britain, in Luton, by Vauxhall, when at the time it was one of the most reliable things you could buy. This was on par with the Ford Focuses of the time. I've also realised I've been calling it a 2009 car this whole time. I've owned it for 6 months and completely forgot that it's a 2008 car. The Abarth's 2009. My bad. So, as we can see, driving the Astra is a breeze. You'll hear a few clunky noises because my drop links have gone. I'm going to get it booked in and get that sorted. Apparently quite a common thing to go on these cars, but doesn't really affect the way it drives for now. As we can see, it's an easy car to drive. Like I said before, Vauxhall made these cars so that they're easy and they're practical. Now, I'm 6'2" and I've got enough space between my knee and the steering wheel. I've got it positioned nicely. It's got a fair amount of pull to it, and as you can see, the sport button here, which we will test out in a little bit. I'm just going to show you on some of these rural back roads what it's like driving and how it really handles. We'll get up to speed once we get past this shit bit of road that we're coming up to. Now, as we can see, it does corner nice. For an estate car, you wouldn't really expect much from it, but it does corner quite nicely. It's weirdly got pretty decent handling on it. You look at it, you think it'd be a bit of a boat. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a bit of a boat, but this is exactly where I hit the deer as well. We'll do a little pull here though. We'll come to a stop. Engine should be up to temp now, and we'll put it into sport mode. Now, I've noticed with sport mode, it does make it a little bit jerky, but on the gear changes, but that could just be driver error. Probably is, but it's probably the Vauxhall gearbox as well. Anyway. So overall, not bad for the pull. I'm going to blur out what speed we got to there. It was definitely the speed limit. I'm going to turn around here and loop back around, but it's a fairly decent driving experience. It's comfy, the seats have lumbar support in them. Make sure I can turn around here. It does like to wheel spin if you're on any kind of loose surface or when it's wet. As I say, making use of the 6-speed gearbox, very handy to have. I've never owned a car with a 6-speed gearbox, and it's very nice, especially if you're dragging it a bit or if you're on a motorway. On these back roads, they're not exactly the best roads in the world, but the Astra eats them up, which I love. Being able to not really worry, I've got the travel and the suspension, I've got the clearance where I can hit these bumps and not have to stress it too much. Obviously, my drop links going is a bit annoying, and that is just the price you pay. It's also knocked my tracking out slightly, as you can probably see. 154,000 miles. Still pulls like a train, and doesn't sound too bad for an old diesel. I do quite enjoy it. Now, I've got people who have spent £4 on other cars, also 2-litre diesels, whereas it's just the 1.9, and this will still smoke them. 150 horsepower, obviously it's going to have lost a few horsepower over the years, but it's got everything I need. It's comfy enough. The steering wheel is nice thickness, and it's got these little almost aerated parts here that you can just sit and hold. Obviously, all your multifunction on the steering wheel, everything on the dash that you need. It's a practical car for what it is, and like I said, morning, Mr. Magpie. Like I said, 800 quid that I paid for it. Can't really complain, can I? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to shut this door so that massive bumblebee doesn't get in. I hope you've enjoyed. Like I said, not every video on this channel is going to be fun, exciting cars. I hope I can get my hands on some fun, exciting cars at some point, and I'm filming these as and when I can. But this was my Vauxhall Astra review, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much. And of course, like I said before, I cannot forget the startup, so you can hear this meaty diesel. So I'll whack that on there.